Welcome. I am your instructor, Dr. D'Amico L. Cunningham, and I am going to help guide you through the wonderful world of hard surface modeling inside of Maya 2015. So, for our project, what we're going to be working on is basically this Ferrari Enzo. So I'm going to move this, I'm going to open up this Enzo inside of Photoshop here. So I have this file, and here it is inside of Photoshop, ready to be cut into pieces so that I can model this inside of Maya. So what I want to do, I don't want to sign in right now. Right? Go away. Go away. So what I want to do is I want to actually cut this stuff up, and this is pretty simple to do inside of Maya. I'm going to cut it up, so I'm just going to cut this down like this, for instance, and I want to cut that right about there. So I'm going to say yes, and I'm just going to say file, and I'm going to say save as, and we're going to save it back to the desktop, and I'm going to save this as a JPEG file. Just saving it as a JPEG because it won't eat up too much space as a JPEG file. And if you look right now, you can see I can't save it as a JPEG because this image is indexed. So it needs to be RGB color before I can save it as a JPEG. So let's go here and save as now, and we should have JPEGs in our list, and we do. So this is going to be my top. So I'm just going to rename this top and make it a large file. Make it as large as possible, that's fine. Hit OK. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to actually undo that. I'm going to step backwards. So let's go in here and step backwards. Do Control, Alt, and Z to step backwards. And I'm going to go back in here and cut this up. Just like this. And I'm going to save this one. Make sure, because I stepped backwards, I have to make sure that oh goodness, go away. And this is going to be my side. And make sure this is a JPEG as well. Side. And Control Alt Z. Let's do this first. Let's go here and change the mode to RGB. So when I make my changes, it'll already be that way. And then for the last two, I'm just going to use the marquee tool because I don't want to have to go through that excruciating pain. And we're going to crop this and save it. So save as. This is going to be front. Make this a JPEG as well. And let's step backwards. I'm just going to move this marquee down here. Alright. And then recrop this. And then one more save as. And this is going to be back. Now I'm probably not going to use all of these views inside of Maya to start with. Realistically, I only need two views, and the two views that I need are the left and the top view, or a side view rather, and the top view. That's all I really need to get started. And I'm going to close down Photoshop at this point, and because we've got all our views. So here inside of Maya, first thing I want to do is set up a project. I'm going to go File, and let's say we set our project. And my project, I want to set this onto the desktop. And we are going to make that the Enzo and say create default workspace. If I look inside of that folder now, you can see there's my workspace mail inside of there. So what I want to do is also, I can come here to my project, and my current project is going to be on the desktop, and I'm just going to accept that. And accepting that, you can see now it's added folders inside of here. So this is now my project folder. So source images, I'm going to come in here and drag all of my images inside of there. So all these images that I had, and I'm even going to drag my original one in there as well, just so I can have it. So now I want to get in this habit so that whenever I leave and take my stuff with me, I'm taking everything and I'm taking my files and everything that I need to take to continue working on this at home or on another computer or whatever. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to save this as, and you can see it's saving to the desktop Enzo in the scenes folder, and I'm going to say Enzo and just save. There's nothing in it yet. So let's set up our images really quick. I'm going to get rid of the shelf first of all. I'm going to right click. So let's right click in here and no shelf. And I'm also going to right click down here and take away the rangefinder and the time slider. And I think that's it. Let's take away those. So I'm holding on spacebar and left mouse click on the Maya in the middle and go to top view. And inside of my top view, I'm going to come in here and say view image plane, and I'm going to import an image, and you can see it goes to that source image folder, and I'm going to say open, and there's that one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my right side and do the same thing, image plane, image, and go to my side view. So hopefully these two are lined up, and of course they're not lined up at all. So I'm going to rotate my top view because I know my left view, I know my side view is on a side. So I'm going to rotate this top view. And I'm just going to rotate this, looks like on Z. No, of course not. It's Y. Y. Y, ask why, right? So there we go, 90 degrees. And I'm going to get my move tool, or my translate tool rather, and zoom in a little bit. And let's pull this down and check. And I can see, look at that. The front of the car matches the front. The back of the car matches the back. Everything's pretty lined up just from our image. So I'm just going to take this and leave it right about here. Select both of these. Come here to where it says alpha gain. So you see image plane shape to alpha gain. I'm going to type 0.2. By doing that, it makes my images semi-translucent. And the other thing that I want to check, I want to make sure what size that I'm modeling in. So I'm going to go here to Window and go to Settings and Preferences, and let's go to Preferences. And I'm going to go to Settings again. And right here you can see I'm working in centimeters. I want to change that to meters, and I'm going to save that. And we can see right now our world is really, our car is going to be really, really small. So we need to see how big our grid is. So let's go in here and go to grid and go to the grid options. And I can see that it says grid line every 5 units. So basically what's going on right now is that Maya is set up to show me a grid line every 5 meters. So one of these, so a grid line right now is 5 units. So this is 5 meters. So 5 meters is about 15 feet. So one of these squares is about 15 feet square. I'm going to change this to like grid line every 2 units. That way it's something a little bit more digestible. So each one of these is 6 feet. So this is 12 feet from this one to this one. So let's make our car about 12 feet long. Alright, so let's make our car about 12 feet long. So we have something that actually makes sense and gives us some kind of point of reference, because my car is, it's right now set up to be in feet. I'm going to hide these image plane wireframes. I'm just going to select them and hit Control H to hide these very quickly. And with those hidden, I'm going to select my image planes, come over here to my channel box, and I'm going to go to display, and I'm going to come right here to the very last one, which lets me make a new layer and add whatever I have selected to that new layer. So I'm going to click that, get a new layer, and I'm going to reference it, and I'm going to double click on the name of it, and I'm going to change the name to reference for the name. Haha. So that is now my reference layer, and save it. So there we go, and then my grid is, I'm going to leave the width and the length the same, and the division is the same, but I'm going to leave the grid lines at 2, And I'm actually going to probably change my colors of my grid lines too. Just just to be different. Dare to be different, right? Those are the major lines, and these are the non-major lines. I don't think I like that. That's kind of nice. So I'm just gonna close that. So now I've got my images set up, and I can start working with modeling this vehicle. So one thing I want to do is I want to set up this to be a three-way split. So over here on my toolbar on the left-hand side, I'm going to click my panel layout for a triple window setup. So here I'm going to go panels and go orthographic, and this is going to become my top view. And I'm going to also say panels orthographic, and this will become my side view. And then panels, not orthographic, but perspective, and there's my perspective camera. So you can see I have all my cameras and all my views and everything set up, and everything's nice and neat. I like being able to set this up in a three-way split so that I can, perspective is for viewing your model. You should never model your model. Well, I shouldn't say never, but you should be very careful about modeling your model in perspective. Perspective is primarily for viewing your model, not for modeling. So there's that, right? So I'm going to show you a couple of different techniques. I'm going to show you how to do this with polygons. And I'm also going to show you how to do this with NURB objects. NURB objects are amazing pieces of 3D geometry. A NURB is a non-uniform rational B-spline. It is kind of like taking polygons and subdivisions, and they have a baby, and NURBS, well, I won't say NURBS is their baby, but NURBS is a really useful and quick geometry type. So I'm going to do this with polygons first and show you how I would do this. So if you know any of the contextual menus inside of Maya, hopefully you do, because this is an advanced level course. So if you know the shortcuts, I can hold down the shift key and right click when I have nothing selected and get to my polyplane tool, and I'm just going to left mouse click and drag out a polygonal plane. I'm dragging it from corner to corner of the door and just leaving it there. Now, as I'm doing this, what you'll notice is this is my side view, but in my top view, I can move this where I need to. So right now, this is in front of this side of the door over here, which is the right side of my car, which is the right side that I'm showing. So I also want to turn on X-ray mode, so I can turn on X-ray, and let's turn on X-ray. Or I could just turn on wireframe. I guess it doesn't really matter. I want to X-ray that. So vertex mode. I'm going to take this and pull this vertice down here, grab this and pull this vertice like right about here. Actually, there we go. So that looks okay. If I look at this from my top view, I can see that my door is not that straight. Kind of dips out a little bit, so I'm going to pull this out like that. And that looks okay. So I'm going to start doing some cutting. I'm going to go to edge mode and select both of those edges. So left mouse click and drag over both of those edges. I'm going to hold down shift and right click, and I'm going to go down here where it says connect components. And you'll see it gives me a connection between the two, which is nice and clean. I'm going to go into vertex mode, and let's pull this down. And let's pull this over. And what you'll notice is while I'm modeling, I usually do not try to activate a lot of different movements at once. I try to get one way done and then move the other way. So I'm going to select both of these and connect component. And I'm going to hit G to repeat last command. And go to vertex mode. Pull this down. Pull this down. And let's pull this back some. and pull that down. And pull that down. So this is still pretty clean. Now, one thing I can see looking at my blueprints right here from the top view, where this line is at, this probably goes back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down, select all those polygons, hold down Shift and right click, and go to Extrude. And I'm still holding Shift and I'm still holding the right mouse button. And I'm going to come over here to Extrude, and I'm just going to extrude this back just like that. Now when I look at this, if you look at it, you can see some nastiness happens because I get these inside pieces here. I don't need those, right? I don't need this one, and I don't need this. Let's turn off the grid. I don't need this or any of these, right? I don't need those. The only thing I needed was the car door to kind of go back a little bit, and that's all I really needed out of that. So that's pretty sweet that I can do that way. I'm going to come in here to vertex mode, grab these vertices right here, and push this back. So let's get both of these and push these a little bit back. And this one comes back even farther than the other. Just like that. And you see I'm only moving in one direction. I'm only moving side to side, basically. So let's pull this a little bit forward. So I'm just lining this stuff up. Simple, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Alright, so this stuff's getting lined up just so we can be safe and sound in how we put this stuff together. And I'm going to go in here to edge mode. So edge, hold shift and select all those edges. Hold shift, right click, and then go to edge tool. I'm going to click on the normal and then just move this over. So go to vertex mode. So what you can see by being able to do this super clean, I can move this stuff and get things where I want it and not have a whole bunch of stuff like messing me up and causing me pain and strife and everything else. So I can see right here, I'm going to go to edge mode, and I'm going to add in another edge right here just so we can start to pull this stuff this way. Right, so that's what that's all about. So I got that going. So realistically, I got my door right there. Now, what I want to do, I can see this right here on the top view is fine, but on my side view over here, this needs to come up just like that. So now I've got that angle the way that I want, and I can keep going up all the way up the door, and the door stops right here. There's like a hinge that comes across there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in here and go edge mode, and I'm not going to worry about the window right now. I'm just going to, model straight up. So just like that. I can come back and fix that other stuff in a bit, right? So let's come in here and let's go to vertex mode, grab these verts, and let's move this right here. This is going to be like right here. This is here. And that's right about there. And I'm going to do this. Pull this over here and pull this back just so I can get this just like that. And select all this stuff here, and it's going to push it back right like that. So you can see everything is pretty much lining up the way we intended it to. Get all these, get my scale tool. Just going to scale these until they're flattened out, which is right about there. Those are all done now. Go here to edge mode, grab this edge and the other three, right click and extrude, and go to this right here and come right about there. So vertex mode, get my move tool, move it on in, and there we go. So we're looking pretty good right about now. I'm going to grab this stuff here and just pull this up. So you can see I'm using my views to my advantage. I don't want to let one view dominate everything else. So I kind of switched between them just so. Alright, so there we go. And if I look at this in perspective for viewing, right? Look at this in perspective, I can see, well, the shell of my car looks like it's coming along pretty slick. So that's the shell part of it. It's pretty easy to do. You really, like I told you, all you need are these two views, your left view and, well, your side view rather, and your top view, and you can start to get a three-dimensional form. And that's the first part of getting this, is getting the three-dimensional form. So that's how you do this with polygons. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to start doing this with NURB objects. So we will do that in the next video.